Hello everyone, my name is Zach. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well today. Today I'm going to be talking about the books I plan to read in July. I don't usually like to do TBRs because I'm very much a mood reader, but Melissa, the Bookish Babbler, who if you haven't watched already you should, does something called Sci-Fi July, and being a lifelong sci-fi fan, I thought it would be fun to join in. So I asked her if she minded and she says she didn't, so I'm going to be participating, and since the whole month is themed around sci-fi, that kind of narrows down the books that I would read, and so I figured why not go ahead just and pick them out ahead of time and talk about them in a video. Because, that's how BookTube works, TBRs are a thing, and I'm doing one right now. Speaking of Melissa the Bookish Babbler, her and A Beautiful Chaos of Books are co-hosting a Luna Chronicles readathon, and I am currently in the middle of Scarlet, because Cinder and Scarlet were the two books to read in June. And so in July, I plan on reading Cress and Fairest, which are the books you're supposed to read in July. I have Cress already from the library, and I'm going to try to get Fairest from the library too. I'm really enjoying the series so far. I really like that Marissa Meyer managed to work in all of the elements of the original fairy tale, but she makes them different enough to make them interesting, and also she works them into the context of a larger story, which I think is pretty impressive. So I'm definitely enjoying the series, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these have to offer, especially Cress, because Averielovesbooks, who's a fellow booktuber and a good friend of mine, this is her personal favorite, and so I'm interested to see if I'll love it as much as she does. Hopefully I will, and hopefully the series will just continue to blow me away like it has so far, so we'll have to see. Even though this is supposed to be Sci-Fi July, I need to make one exception, and that's because I am participating in the Papercut Book Club, which is being hosted by Jordan Harvey, Cat from Paperback Dreams, and Read with Cindy. And I really enjoy all their channels, so when I heard they're doing a book club, I was definitely excited. And the book for that this month is Unwind by Neal Shusterman. This book is described as a world in which abortion is outlawed, but you can raise your kids, and between the ages of 13 and 18, I believe, you can have them unwound, which basically means you have them killed off and their organs are used for organ donation. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little nervous about this one. I have a feeling based on the description that I'm gonna have some thoughts. So not guaranteeing, but I would say that there's probably gonna be a discussion of this book because it just seems like I'm gonna want to talk about it. So probably look forward to that, but no promises. So the next book I want to read I also got from the library, and that is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. This is described as a very important book in the history of science fiction, as well as one of the best science fiction books ever written. I don't know much about it because I like to go into books as blind as possible. The one thing I do know about it, besides the fact that it's a very popular book in the history of science fiction, is that it's labeled as one of the first and best in the subgenre of feminist science fiction. And I've never really read anything that's considered feminist science fiction, and honestly I haven't really done a good job besides Lunar Chronicles of reading any sci-fi by a woman, so I'm interested to see how Ursula Le Guin writes, and I'm interested to see if this holds up to the hype it's gotten. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I like it. The next book I want to read is the BookTube favorite, Illuminated by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I have been looking forward to reading this book, and Sci-Fi July is just the perfect time to dive in. It looks like it's going to be just so much fun. Plus, from what I understand, it's a kind of less is more approach to storytelling, where they just kind of present you with like artifacts and reports and chat logs, and you kind of have to piece it together yourself. And I love those kind of stories. Silent Hill, which is like my favorite thing in the universe, is like that, where you have to take what's given to you and then piece it all together. So that in kind of a science fiction context is exciting to me, so I'm really looking forward to this. I hope to God this lives up to the hype, because I will just be ruined if this doesn't. The next book I want to read is actually an audiobook, and that is the audiobook of To Sail Beyond the Sunset by Robert A. Heinlein. Robert A. Heinlein is another important author in the history of science fiction. He's sometimes referred to as the Dean of Science Fiction, and I really enjoyed Starship Troopers. I'm going to make a video discussing certain aspects of that book, but I wasn't impressed by Space Cadet, which is one of his young adult books I read. So I wanted to try another one of his adult books. I'm really looking forward to reading this one because while Robert A. Heinlein did his best to write women in sort of a progressive light. You know, they were scientists or pilots in a lot of his stories. They usually don't have much of a personality. Their personality is usually that they are a badass female. So I'm interested to see how he does when the entire book's written around a female character, and hopefully I can say, you know, that he can write a female character. He just needed to practice at it, because I believe this is one of his last books. I've had this audiobook from Audible for a while, and I've never got around to listening to it, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'll have to see if I'm a Robert A. Heinlein fan or if I just really like Starship Troopers, so we'll see what happens. I also would really like to get my hands on more issues of Saga, the graphic novel series. I have read the first 3 issues so far, and I have been loving the series. It's really creative. It's really fun. I love the characters, and so I've been getting them from the library, and unfortunately my closest library branch has like the first 3 issues and then like number 8. So I'll have to go to my central library branch and see if they have the ones I need next. I'm hoping I can get like 4, 5, and 6 and knock out like a third of the series this month, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. And then these last 2 books I have, these are more if I have time to get to them, because I'm not a very fast reader and I already have quite a few books lined up. But if I have time, I would like to get to some expanded universe novels in 2 of my favorite franchises. The first one is the Star Wars expanded universe. Specifically, I think I'm going to read the first book in the Han Solo trilogy. I was really disappointed in the Solo movie. I thought it was fun, dumb action. It was fun for viewing. It was kind of hilarious, but I don't really think it was a good Han Solo story. So I'm interested to see if A.C. Crispin here did a better job writing Han Solo, and also see what the original backstory to him was, because this is from the original Star Wars canon before Disney took over. So if I have time, I would like to read this and see if Han Solo was ever done right outside of the original trilogy. And the last book that I would love to get to is Halo: The Fall of Reach. Growing up, I was a big fan of the Halo games. They were a big part of my childhood, and so I would love to see how the novels fare. I believe this is a prequel that I believe came out right before the release of the original Halo, and was written to kind of coincide with that release. And I don't know much about it besides the fact it leads up to the events of the first game. So I'm interested to see how this is and how this kind of holds up nowadays, now that we've had game after game after game in the series. So hopefully I'll get to it. Hopefully I'll like it. We'll have to see. So that is it for today. That is all the books I hope to get to in the month of July. If you want, put down in the comments what books you're hoping to get to in the month of July. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I will see you next time.